Good morning and welcome to the David and David on Real Estate podcast. Today we are in episode number 143 and we have David Binns returning to the studio with us. We're going to peel back some layers. We had a great episode last time talking about leadership, internal leadership, setting boundaries, and really setting really high standards. And we're going to peel back the layers a little bit more and talk about mental toughness. So, David Binns, welcome back and thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me again, guys.
Absolutely.
It's just one thing, that I was thinking about from our last episode, and most real estate agents that I know and dealt with over the years, I don't have any stats to back this up or anything. It seems like they had some other career first, or they did something, but they didn't come out of high school necessarily, or university or college saying, I'm going to be a real estate agent. There's usually some other plan and someone that had a career and then reach that moment where, no, that's not a good thing. I got to do real estate. Compared to my business, lawyers, most of us, went to, you went to high school, went to university, tried to get to law school, and then started practicing or doing something. So it's a different route. So I think there's a lot of people listening to what you said in our previous episodes. They're really going to have that. Yeah, I had that moment, and had the fortitude to make that career change, because so many had to make a career. And then once you're in the industry, we all go through, am I in the right place? Even if I like the industry, and you switch brokerages and things like that. Maybe you could just comment on that a little bit.
I think a lot. Can you actually reframe the question?
Well, the question is, you talked about how you had the life-changing moment where you got to, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. I got to find something else. And I think that most real estate agents listening to this would relate to that, because even before they got into real estate, they already were having that because they were doing something else first. And you have to have that, that mental toughness.
That's right.
That we want to talk about now, to say, okay, enough's enough. I'm going on a wrong path. How do you get that mental toughness, and make that tough decision to change your life?
Exactly what you just said. Make the decision. Now, the idea of a decision is very fragmented and fractured. A decision is not saying, hey guys, let's go out for lunch today. Let's go down to one restaurant in Yorkville. A decision is a declaration to self. And a decision is to kill off. Look at the root of the word. Side, to decide. We have pesticide, etc., etc. It is a declaration to decide, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, this is what I care about. And anything that's not that does not get entertained. It's no different when you choose to get married, or you choose to go to law school, or you choose to be a broker owner. You made the decision to be a broker owner. You made the decision to be a lawyer. We have to release the significance of change. Part of the challenge in the real estate business that does make it challenging is inside of the notion of the golden handcuffs. Oh, just one more deal. Oh, maybe next year. I'm going to knock it out of the park this year, save some money, but then I'll do it next year. The beautiful thing about real estate is you can gradually transition. You can work part-time, still do really good in the business, and start your new venture. I did a little bit more aggressively because I wanted to get out of the business in 2016, and then I finally actively got out in 2021. It was actually 2022. But the significance of change needs to be surrendered. And we need to dial into, what is it that we really want? What do we really care about? I have yet to find or meet a realtor in all my years that was born and came out of their mother's womb saying, I wanted to be a real estate agent. But at the same time, while the business in and of itself requires a lot of mental toughness, it provides an uncanny skill set that I have yet to see in any other industry. If you're a producing agent, that is. And it's so multifaceted, and there are so many elements that fit into the real estate business that people could change into and or morph into. Like, I'm not out of the real estate business. I'm still in the industry, but I predominantly work with men, and I work with broker owners and consult on other big online projects. So it doesn't need to be a full 180. For some people, yeah, you do need to burn the boats and go all in on something. But I don't have that answer. The only person that has the answer is the person listening to this. But if you have that desire and you're listening to this to really go create something, to do something, experience something different beyond the demands of the real estate business, you have a duty to honor that call. And the duty is to yourself. Because you're in a very, very gifted place. You're in the real estate business. You can go sell a couple of homes this month, and that can fuel the new project. But I think the idea here is that we got to release the significance of change, because there is no threat. But the illusion is that going after what we really want is not safe. It's not safe to the nervous system. It's not safe to the subconscious mind. And it's on us with our pure consciousness to remind ourselves that it is safe. Do you think, this is a rhetorical question, but do you think it was easy for me to walk away from being a vice president and shareholder in a Berkshire Hathaway company, building that business and working part-time selling real estate, doing $500,000 a year? Do you think that was easy? 18 years active in the business.
No, as a lawyer, I would have told you not to do it. Your shares are worth something and you got to get something more out of it. But
no, I actually made the right decision. Believe you me. Yeah, I made the right decision. I knew it. But it was more of the ego stroke, right? Like, that's pretty sexy. Like, that's a pretty that's a very fat title in the real estate business, and it's amazing, and I earned it. But at the end of the day, it's not the thing that defines me. And that's the piece that I really let go of. And for a realtor, let go of the identity. I see it all the time. I have so many agents in the city who I've become good friends with over the years, who I'm like a therapist for them. And the identity of being a realtor, just let that go. It doesn't mean you're abandoning your career, but just let that go. And what is your identity? Your spiritual self. What does that want expressed? And it's something to think about.
Dave, a lot of realtors know that they should be doing something. Like, they know what they have to do. They know what they have to do to do more business. They know what they have to do today to, fill their calendar. They know that business is out there, but they don't do it. They talk about doing it. They'll make commitments to their spouse and their partner that they're going to start doing it. They'll make a commitment to themselves, right? We hear it all the time. I interview new agents, and it's funny because I updated requirement online to join the brokerage, and I said, I made it very simple. I said, I just want a 3-paragraph about what will make you an amazing agent. And over the last couple weeks, I've been getting inquiries like, hey, call me, I'm interested in getting my license. And I'll message them back. I'm like, you didn't follow the rules. Like, why am I going to invest my resources, my time, my effort into taking you under a wing and really teaching you the ropes? Because we all know that, 90% of actually selling real estate is taught at the brokerage level, not, in school. In school, they teach you theory. We actually teach you hands-on experience of how to actually sell. Why am I going to invest my time if you can't follow the first instruction I've given you after coming out of school? Like it's it's really shocking because the opportunity out there and the amount of business, um, and if you follow the steps and you're that true professional, it's not hard. You do 2 transactions a month, and you're earning more than a surgeon is at the end of the year. And David Corman and I, we talk about this offline all the time about, it doesn't take a lot if you do the right things and you have the right approach to really earn an unbelievable amount of living in this industry. But the statistics, according to Treb, and they came out a couple of years ago, is that half of the realtors do less than 1 transaction on the MLS system.
Mhm.
We see it all the time talking to realtors on a daily basis. Oh, yes, I'm going to do A, B, and C, and I'm going to commit to this, I'm going to commit to that, and it never happens. So what is it that, needs to
That's a
turn on?
really
What's the switch? Like what differentiates a really high performer from just another, real estate agent out there? What's that switch?
that's a very big question. Okay, there are lots of elements that fit into that. I fundamentally believe, not that it's true, but I fundamentally believe that inner horsepower that I have, that desire, you have it, and obviously you have it too, David Corman. You built a very successful practice in the city. You can't teach that to someone. However, it can be taught if life teaches it to you. It's called a liminal moment, like being in the mirror, and people make the decision for more. They make the decision to flip the switch of passion, of desire. You see this all the time with people who are heroin addicts who are now running multi-million dollar companies. It's the desire for change, but especially here in Canada, more people are interested in comfort and safety. The future that you really want will not be comfortable. It will not be safe. But that in and of itself is a huge conversation, because it's not for you. If you grew up in a lower to middle class family and no one ever really had financial success, and you go off to create financial success, that is going to interrupt your family of origin. That is going to interrupt your nervous system. You're going to have to work against your subconscious mind. I'm describing myself. Nobody's ever made the money that I've made. No one in my family. And I'm not a success at all costs kind of guy. You know me, David, but I am committed to massive growth. And that interrupts my family of origin, and they get so activated by it. I go buy a nice watch or whatever, like we're just able to move here, go to Miami, go to Costa Rica. Like it is so activating. So that is a very, very, very big question. But ultimately, that boils down to how bad do you want it? So you really want the cottage. You really want the Porsche. You really want those trips. You want to send the kid to private school. How bad do you really want it? Because most people say they want to be successful when in fact I already know they don't. They're more interested in being safe and comfortable. For you to expand your consciousness and your character and your behavior to be consistent with a $500,000 or $1 million a year producer, That's going to require the death of the current character. And most people don't want to go there. I've gone through that 2 or 3 times. But that hunger, that grit, that competitiveness, and it was interesting. I was never, it's so funny. I was never competitive against other people. It was always with me. I would look on the leaderboard at Keller Williams and I'd be like, I'm number 2 in the brokerage? No way. We're going number 1. And I couldn't even remember who the other person was, but it was me against me. It was that constant pursuit of excellence. So you can either cultivate that, few do. Most will cultivate it after a liminal moment in life, when you're really faced in the mirror and you know something needs to change. You see it all the time with people. You know, the 50-year-old guy who's 300 pounds and he has a heart attack at Walmart. And what do you know? 12 months later, he's a fitness influencer making millions of dollars a year. I'm serious. You see those stories all the time. All the time.
So David, what do you think in that situation? What's the first thing or the first 3 steps that that person took to turn that situation around?
I think their awareness of who they are got exploded into a million pieces. Second thing is they knew that they had to change, not the external world of the tools they use to build their business or whatever they're doing. They are the source. They had to change. For their life to change, they have to change. Then after that, I often see it where people surrender to something beyond themselves. Call it God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. Those 3 components are very consistent throughout people who make massive change, including myself.
And just to clarify, David, like you don't have to reach rock bottom
Nope.
your life or have some tragic event happen to you to get to that point to make the change. Like you could be doing okay. You could be in a safe, secure part of your professional life when you can still reach that moment saying this isn't enough or this isn't good enough. I got to aim for something better than what I'm doing. Right. It's not, we all know about stories and your story too, to some degree, you sort of reach that real low point. There might be a real triggering event, but for most people, there may not be. It's just, okay, I'm just muddling along, but this isn't good enough. Right. There's something better that I seek and I think I can achieve more. And then how do I do it?
When it comes to like a huge leap in performance, a massive change in their character and behavior, there's 2 ways to go about it. Either life is going to teach you through fermenting a crisis, or you're going to make a conscious decision. It is like people don't understand the power of a decision. They really don't. Whether it's some unrest in your relationship, in your partner's behavior, in your behavior, whether it's how your business is going, your health, your fitness, we all have the power of decision. That's it. I'm done. I am no longer living this way. This is changing. But the thing about a decision is it's a daily reminder. It's not a one and done. It's the constant obsessive decision. This is changing. This is changing. I'm no longer doing this. This is changing. This is changing. The power of decision alone has the capacity to completely transform people's lives. But the problem with that is what I said earlier, is most people, particularly in Canada, are more interested in comfort and safety. And I'm not telling you to go run an ultra marathon like I'm about to do at the end of the month. I'm not telling you to go do that. but the illusion of safety has been so stitched into the fabric of Canada over decades. You go down to the US, it's not like that. They're like success, success, everybody deserves it. Let's go, American dream. In Canada, it's all about caution, safety. Don't be too loud. So when we make the decision, we need to be aware that that is going to show up. And the success that you want, it's on you to remind yourself that it is safe. And I grew up in a very interesting area. I grew up in Oakville. I was surrounded by incredibly wealthy people. Executive Vice President of RBC Global Banking, CFO for Roxel Insulation North America, VPs at TD, VP at McDonald's. Like, I'm talking the top of corporate Canada. All of my best friends, those are their parents. But my mom sold local advertising for the Oakville Beaver, making maybe 30 grand a year. And it was in that, when I was very young, I made the decision, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to live this way. But because of that, my mom created a narrative, and it's not her fault, but like that rich people are wrong, rich people are bad. So I've had to let go of all of those narratives because, for one, they're not true. But the thing that was primary is I have to keep reminding myself that the future I'm committed to, that it's safe. Because going out into the unknown and producing a huge future, that's not safe to the nervous system for most people.
A lot to think about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as, even when you kind of analyze your own journey, a lot to think about. And you know, to David Corman's point, I think a lot of realtors, you know, have made that decision to go from something that they know, from something that they grew up, from something that they've tried for a number of years in their life, to something very different, which is real estate, right? So they already made a big leap, but the issue is that once you make that big leap and you're in the real estate industry, that's when the real journey begins. And that's when, you know, you really have to get to work. You know, just making that decision by itself doesn't give you a wild card to be successful right away, just because you've made
Correct.
that choice, right? And I think once you make that choice and once you step into the world of real estate, that's where the hard work really begins.
I would reframe that though. What is hard work?
Well, maybe that's where the journey begins. You know, that's where
Right,
the
but
journey
but
begins.
but what is hard work? Everybody talks about work hard, but what is hard work? What does that actually mean? Does it mean the guy's digging out doing landscaping at my neighbor's place? Is that what it means? It's really something to think about and question, what is it? Well, I'll tell you what it is. Keep your word to yourself and other people. What people call hard work, it's integrity. That's all it is. If you see some, I used to go out and door knock when it's literally, there was a couple of summers where it was 40 degrees outside. And I'd be out for 4 hours a day. And I got listings just because people saw the work ethic. But there's work ethic and integrity. Hard work is some concept. So when you actually apply integrity with work ethic, dude, the game's already won. You can't compete against that. You can't. Work ethic and integrity is impossible to beat. And that's the thing that people need to double down on, especially now when everybody wants freedom and the lifestyle and this. Okay, cool. Go earn it. I always say you could stick me out on a farm and I'd work 16 hours a day and I wouldn't bitch or ask for lunch. Because I would. I have a work ethic like a horse. So do the both of you. If you had to do that, you could do that. and then you back that up with keeping your promises and agreements to yourself and other people, that's a weapon and a recipe for success.
I'm actually glad you called me out on that because that's 1000% right. We always say that working in real estate is not tough. It's just consistency and doing what you know you have to do. And most realtors stop short right there because they say, okay, I'm going to go do door knocking today for 2 hours. They go do it one day, they go do it a second day, and then they break their own word to themselves that they're going to keep doing it. And that's where they fall short.
Well,
So
and that
really
that's
hard work, you're right. What is hard work?
what is this thing, right? But the same principle, I wrote about it last night. What is consistency? It's integrity. You have a 90-day plan for your health? Scrap consistency and get interested in integrity. You want to go have a huge leap in your business between now and December? Go create a 90-day game. And keep that word every single day. You watch what happens. You watch what happens to the end of the year, and you watch how the year is going to roll out into 2025. Scrap the idea of hard work. Scrap the idea of being consistent. And take away the significance of all of that and just go keep your word.
Yeah, and keeping your word to yourself.
Correct.
Right? And that's the integrity to yourself, I think, is where it starts. And I think the struggle that many of us have is to put things off, and we get that other term that comes in that we want to focus on our next podcast with you, which is procrastination, and how you defeat that.
Can't wait.
Right? Because most of us are prone to do that. I know I got it. Here's the plan, but I'm not ready to start it, or it's raining today. Tomorrow might be a sunny day, and maybe we'll start when it's sunny, right? We want to hear your thoughts on how you battle that natural tendency that so many of us have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and David, I think we're going to leave that for the next episode.
Yeah.
It's a big topic, and we really want to get into it. And I know we're going to be talking about integrity to yourself, but it's so massive. So David Binns, thanks for joining us today. We're going to have you back in the next episode where we're going to get more into integrity and why it's so crucial and how it's going to sort of pull everything together. So we can't wait. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks again, gentlemen.